Hello and welcome. In this video, we're discussing the distributive property and how we can use arrows to help us with our multiplication. The distributive property says that A times quantity B plus C is equal to A times B plus A times C. And you may have heard of the word distribute before. It means to deal out or to multiply. And that's similar to distribution centers that are taking all of these products and distributing them throughout the country, out states, and throughout the world. And it also applies to mathematics when we want to distribute something outside of parentheses to all the terms inside the parentheses. So how do we use the distributive property? You just distribute the term outside of the parentheses to all the terms inside the parentheses, making sure you multiply properly and bringing the appropriate signs with you as you multiply. Now let's take a look at examples with distributing a positive number. In our first example, we have the expression 2 times the quantity b plus 3. We need to distribute the 2 into all the terms inside the parentheses. So 2 times b plus 2 times 3. The next step after we distribute the 2 is to simplify our expression. So 2 times b is 2b, and 2 times 3 is 6. So our answer is 2b plus 6. In our second example, we have the expression 5 times the quantity of x squared plus 6. Even though we have an exponent of 2 now, the distribution is the same. We are going to distribute the 5 into both terms, so 5 times x squared plus 5 times 6. And then we simplify. 5 times x squared is 5x squared, and 5 times 6 is 30. So our answer is 5x squared plus 30. In our last example of distributing a positive number, we have the expression 4 times the quantity of 2n cubed plus 5n minus 1. Now don't freak out. I know there's more terms here, more variables, but it is still the same process of multiplying the 4, in this case, to 2n cubed, 4 to the 5n, and 4 to the negative 1, right? We're multiplying all three of those terms by 4. So 4 times 2n cubed is going to simplify to 8n cubed. 4 times 5n is 20n, and 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. So that's the final answer here, and it's the same process of just multiplying what's on the outside of parentheses to the terms on the inside. I wanted to take a second to look back at the problem we did in example 1, the expression 2 times the quantity of b plus 3. This is the same thing as b plus 3 plus b plus 3 because we have two b plus 3s. However, mathematicians prefer to use notation that is more concise and efficient. And so we can see through this efficient notation that we wind up needing the distributive property. Our next three examples will show us how to distribute a negative number. Distributing a negative number is the same thing as distributing a positive number, except we have to remember to account for the sign. So in this example, we have negative 2 times the quantity of b plus 3. We distribute the negative 2 into all terms inside the parentheses, and we get negative 2 times b plus negative 2 times 3. Don't forget to draw those arrows so you don't forget any of those terms inside the parentheses. So we get negative 2 times b plus negative 2 times 3, which simplifies to negative 2b minus 6. In our second example, we have the expression negative 5 times the quantity of x squared plus 6. So we're going to distribute the negative 5 into the x squared and also to the 6. That gives us negative 5 times x squared plus negative 5 times 6. After we multiply, we want to make sure we simplify. So negative 5 times x squared is negative 5x squared. Negative 5 times 6 is negative 30. So we get negative 5x squared minus 30 as our answer. In our final example, we have a longer expression, which is negative 4 times the quantity of 2n cubed plus 5n minus 1. but it's the same process. Multiply all the terms inside the parentheses by, in this case, the -4. So we have -4 times 2n cubed plus -4 times 5n plus -4 times -1. Now you may not need to show all these steps. You might just be able to do the arrows and go straight to your answer, which would be awesome. And we also need to make sure we remember that a negative times a negative is a positive. So we don't want to make careless mistakes just because there's more work that we're showing. So -4 times 2n cubed is -8n cubed. -4 times 5n is -20n. And -4 times -1 is +4. And that's how we get our final answer. So again, reminders. When you multiply, you're going to either get a positive or a negative number. You get positive results by multiplying two positives or two negatives. If you multiply a positive times a negative, that's going to give you the negative number. So make sure you're very familiar with these facts as you're doing your distribution. In our next few examples, we're going to take a look at how we can distribute a variable or a letter. So let's get started. The first example is x times the quantity of 3x plus 1. So in this case, instead of distributing a number, we're distributing x, but it's the same thing. We get x times 3x plus x times 1. We just have to remember how to combine exponents when we're multiplying like bases. So I'm just rearranging some things to show more work if you're a little confused on this. So you have 3x to the first power times x to the first power plus 1 times x. When you're multiplying like bases, you add the exponents, which is why I put x to the 1 plus 1 power. So we actually get 3x squared plus x. But what would be great is if you can go from the very first line to the final answer. In the second example, we have j squared times the quantity of -8j plus 4. So keep the fact that we add exponents when multiplying like bases in mind as we do this problem. We get j squared times -8j plus j squared times 4, which gives us -8j cubed, because we have j to the first power right there, plus 4j squared. And we do like to put the number in front of the variable. Our last example is b times the quantity of 4 plus 5. So we're going to distribute the b into both terms. B times 4 plus, and draw that arrow again, b times 5. So we actually have this as 4b plus 5b because we like to put the number first. And you can actually combine like terms. Did you notice that that should be the next step? If you don't remember how to combine like terms, take a look at my combining like terms video. But we have 4 plus 5b, which is 9b, which is much more simplified than the problem we started with. So that's how we distribute a variable, the same way we distribute a number, just by multiplying into all terms inside the parentheses. So you guessed it, we're going to combine that together for our last two challenge problems. We're going to multiply a number in a variable. So in this case, we have the expression 2y times the quantity of -3y plus 9. So we just distribute 2y. 2y times -3y plus 2y times 9. And we simplify. 2 times -3 is -6, and y times y is y squared. 2y times 9 is 18y. So our answer is -6y squared plus 18y. If you needed to, you could rewrite this problem by kind of putting the similar terms together. So 2 times -3 times y to the 1 plus 1 plus 2 times 9y. And I think that's good to show more work as you're getting started. And the better you get at math, the more steps you can skip. Example 2, our final example. Try this problem on your own. Pause the video, work it out, and then come back and see if you can get this problem right. It's a lot. I included fractions. Yes, I did. But don't freak out. It's the same process that we've been doing. We just need to be really careful with our work. So we have -1/2 a squared. That's what we're distributing into all terms. So those arrows are going to be so important to make sure you don't miss any of those terms, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms inside those parentheses. Now you might be saying, well, can't you go ahead and combine terms inside the parentheses first? And you would be correct, absolutely. I'm going to say that step to the end because we're focusing on distributing in this video, but you should get the same answer either way. So I'm just multiplying, I'm showing all my work so I don't make any mistakes, and I'm getting prepared for multiplying negatives, right? A negative times a negative is a positive. Keep that in mind. And if you write big like me, you might need to get more paper because I had to use a separate line for this one. But now it's time to start simplifying. And so we get negative 1/2 a squared times 4a. So I'm focusing on the numbers. Negative 1/2 times 4 is negative 2. And then I look at my variables. A squared times a is a to the 2 plus 1, or a cubed. Then I have negative 1/2 a squared times negative a squared. And I'm crossing out each one as I go so I don't get confused because it's just a lot to look at. Personal preference. You might like that too. And we wind up getting a positive 1/2 a to the 4th power. And then we get negative 5a cubed. Cross that out. Negative 1/2 times 6 is negative 3 with our a squared. And finally, we get a positive 4a squared. Now, you might want to be done, but we're not, right? We have to combine our like terms. So y'all know that I like to do color coding just to help me visually see what's going on. That is a personal preference, not a requirement. But if you find yourself making mistakes a lot, you might want to try it out. So we want to make sure we put the term with the highest exponent first, which is 1/2 a to the 4th power. Then I'm combining my blue squiggles, right? I've got negative 2a cubed minus 5a cubed, and that gives me the negative 7a cubed. And finally, I have negative 3a squared plus 4a squared, which gives me a positive a squared. So negative 1/2 a squared times the quantity of 4a minus a squared plus 10a plus 6 minus 8 simplifies to 1/2 times a to the 4th power minus 7a cubed plus a squared, which looks a whole lot better than what we started with. Okay, let's summarize what we've learned. We know the distributive property says that a times the quantity of b plus c is the same thing as a times b plus a times c. And the way we use the distributive property is by distributing whatever term is outside the parentheses, whether that's a number, a variable, or both, and distributing it inside the parentheses to all the terms, meaning that we're multiplying. And we will make sure to use arrows so that we don't forget any terms, and then we just simplify our answer when we're done. Thanks for watching. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to see in the next video by commenting down below, and I'll calc you later.